Now we will look at some more flags for configuring memory at runtime after we've learned some of the important concepts around garbage collection. But to finish this chapter, the final thing I want to say is that there are some shortcut versions for some of the flags that we've seen. But I'd like to just recap the flags that we've seen in this chapter because these are all ones that are going to be useful for you when you are trying to optimize your applications. So we started by seeing that we can find out how big our string pool is with the print string table statistics flag. That tells us how many buckets there are in the pool and how dense our pool is. And we can change the number of buckets with string table size equals and a number. We then looked at the max heap size and the initial heap size. And before I mention these shortcuts, there was one final one which we saw much earlier in the course, but we used it again here, which was to find out the default values for these two. And that was the unlock diagnostic VM options print flags final combination. So the alternative syntax, the shortcut syntax, is for the two flags in the middle here, the max heap size and the initial heap size. And these are -xmx for max heap size and -xms for the initial heap size. This syntax is a much more condensed syntax. In fact, the way it works, I'm just going to go back to my command prompt and recall the last command. Rather than doing the longer version equals 1g, what we would do to set the initial heap size is -xms, that's the one for the initial heap size, and you don't need an equals, you just follow it straight away with a size. So in this case, that would be 1g. If we wanted to set the maximum heap size -xmx, let's set that to 2 GB, and I'll just press enter to prove that this will run. I'll leave that to run off camera while I carry on speaking. I guess the alternative syntax is there simply because, of course, it's very common. These are probably the most common flags to be setting when you're configuring the virtual machine, so it gives us a bit less typing to do. So in this chapter, we've seen some very basic ways to configure our virtual machine at runtime to perform hopefully more optimally. That's now finished, and again, it was about 23.5 seconds, so that's good. And particularly then when we have an application running with a large number of strings in the string pool, we've seen we can configure the size of the string pool, but in every application, it's certainly worth looking at the initial size of the heap and making sure the total size of the heap is big enough. Actually, we're going to see how useful these are as we progress to the next section of the course, which starts in the next chapter, and we're finally ready to learn about a topic I've been promising you a number of times, which is garbage collection.